Okay. St Johnstone extended their lead over Dundee last weekend, but today is the first of 2 games for Dundee before St Johnstone are back in action. The gap at the top could be down to just 3 points by next weekend. Today's the first of those games though, and Dundee have been hit by international call-ups on this international weekend. Giorgio Ephraim and Andrew Shinney both drop out of the Dundee starting lineup for the first time since they arrived at Dens. David Cowan also dropping out through injury. Coming in to replace them, Mark Gulhaney, David O'Brien, and they'll be looking to make an impact. They've not started for Dundee since January, so they know that they're going to have to impress Jockey Scott to keep their place in the starting lineup today. One bit of good news though for Dundee on the international call-up front. Michael-Antoine Courier has stayed at Dundee instead of moving to France to join up with Guadeloupe, and it's a big decision. He's got 7 in the last 7 for Dundee, and he'll be looking to extend that tally today. One change for Ross County from the team that defeated Dunfermline 2-1 in midweek. It's a big one as well. Craig Brewster drops out of the starting lineup through injury. Former Dundee striker Stephen Craig makes an all-former Dundee strike pairing for Ross County today. He partners Darren Dahl up front. One other former D in the Ross County starting lineup today, Martin Corrigan, 4 games on loan at Dens last season. He starts for Ross County today as well. Eric Payton with a chip ball up looking for Curry, who's got the flick on. Cleared away high up into the sky there by Boyd, and it's clearance completed in the end. It's just worth noting as well the pitch came through the early morning inspection today. Heavy overnight rain in the north of Scotland last night, so the pitch might cut up later on. Lots of sand down on it at the moment, so I'm sure something the ref will be monitoring as the game goes on. This is Richie Britton turning and trying to knock a low ball out to Mark McCulloch, but it's been intercepted by Mark Gulhaney, striding forward, going through the sand patches, and now finding Colin Cameron back in the starting lineup after missing a few games through injury. And it's a cross by Payton wasn't quite coming off, and it's been cleared away over to David O'Brien now. Cuts back though, doesn't fancy taking on Corrigan, and now Eddie Malone will get the chance to cross it in, but blocked well by Richie Britton. That's going to be a throw on. Colin Cameron used to be involved with Scotland international days, and Malone's fired the cross in here, and Courier jumping with goalkeeper Joe Malin there, and Malin stayed down after challenging with Courier, and Joe Malin is staying down injured, and Stephen Watt clears the ball away. And this will be a worry for Derek Adams early on. Joe Malin went down straight away. And Ross County, of course, with former Dundee goalkeeper Derek Soapy Souter. Just warming up behind Joe Malin there. And Joe Malin looks like he's going to play on here, certainly for the moment. Former Celtic youth player. To taking one of the ribs from Antoine Courier. And Gardine's managed to work it out here to McCulloch, who's cleared in and has been tapped into the back of the net by Stephen Craig, but he's offside. And after running right in front of the Dundee fans, they won't enjoy that. Stephen Craig, he was offside back in the starting lineup today, though, finding the back of the net. But he was offside on this occasion. And he certainly enjoyed running in front of the Dundee fans there. 7 goals in his time at Dens, and he was certainly going to rub that one in the Dundee fans' faces. But the Dundee fans on this occasion. Offside, Stephen Craig. Keddy, the slice clearance away, and Boyd's going to come down here to challenge. So, Mark McCulloch in actual fact. Payton and McHale's given him the option here, and Lachlan will launch this one down the field, looking for Colin McMenamin up in the air. Just gets into a tangle with Keddy. Now McMenamin stuck in the corner. McHale now with a low crossing. Volleyed away, and Mark Gilhaney with a good turn on taking the strike at goal, but flashes wide of that post. Not really challenging Joe Malin, and Joe Malin just maybe a bit shaky on his feet after taking that knock in the chest. But Dundee not testing him on this occasion. Lachlan launches that one back to where it came from. Now McMenamin again helps it on. He's gone down holding his head, so the referee will halt the play and let Colin McMenamin get back to his feet. I think he's okay in actual fact, but it's just going to take a wee minute for him. It's going to be a bounce ball in the centre of the park. The ref just waiting for McMenamin to clear the playing area, and Lawson will chip it back to Eric Payton. Payton with a long ball, and Keddy sticks his head right behind that one, getting it away. And now Gordine looking for the run of Darren Dahl here, but Robert Douglas will take his time before clearing that one away. And former Scotland international not put under pressure, but Colin Cameron's put Lawson under pressure here, and Colin Cameron goes to ground, but no free kick going. This time the runner Stephen Craig in behind Gary McKenzie. Eric Payton as well coming across to cut down his options. Stephen Craig takes it past Payton though, couldn't get past McKenzie though. That's to cut it back to McCulloch, and McCulloch's going to swing this one, looking for the height of Darren Dahl, and it's off the bar. It's going to drop down to Stephen Craig, and he's knocked that one over the bar, and Stephen Craig knows that was a chance to get it in the back of the net properly this time. Last time caught offside, this time not getting his angles quite right. Darren Dahl though, smashing the ball against the bar. He would have loved to score one against the Dundee fans as well. Not this time though. And Ross County with a bright start. Could be 2 goals up, but Dundee have got away with it so far. Courier just misses out in the header, and McMenamin take one in the chest there from Boyd. But Paul McHale thought he was eager to get on with it with a quick free kick though, but he's just going to leave it now to Eric Payton. McHale just making the run there, looking for the quick free kick, but now it's Payton. The chip ball looking for the height of Gary McKenzie, and it's the height of Darren Dahl actually at the back there, who gets that one away. Comes through to David O'Brien. Martin Corrigan forcing him out of play. Eddie Malone in a bit of space just this side now, and now Dundee, while they're robbed in possession here, and now Gordine can come away with it using his pace. Gary McKenzie is caught out here up at the halfway line, but Dundee, between the 3 of them, managed to get the ball off Gordine, but now Stephen Craig. And it's a poor pass in actual fact from Stephen Craig, and Jim Lachlan just had to stand there and clear it away. Malone looking for some short options, and David O'Brien had to be quick there to get it away. A late challenge there from but he's got away with it this time. Keddy launches it away, and Payton gets a good head behind that one, and now McCulloch can step inside Gilhaney, but Payton gets the ball at his feet again. Courier's dropping deep, and now Cameron can work it out to Malone. Just these wide patches seem a bit more greener in the centre of the park. It's got a lot of grass on it. Malone has to play it back to O'Brien, and Lawson can catch him in possession. That's a great ball out to Gilhaney, running at Keddy at the back here. Mark Gilhaney forced out to the byline though, fires it against Keddy, but the ball doesn't go out of play, and does now. Mark Gilhaney will take the throw in. It's back to Gilhaney, and Stephen Craig could put Mark Gilhaney under pressure there, and it's a poor cross in the end from Gilhaney. A chip ball from Payton looking for the run of Courier, and Watt in behind him, and Courier can square it, and McMenamin just couldn't get in the end of it. It's cleared away, and it's going to be a corner kick to Dundee. First corner kick of the match. And the Ross County fans behind that goal making their opinions known to referee Mike Tumulty today. They thought it was a goal kick, a miss from McMenamin, but the referee says it was deflected. Gilhaney, low corner kick, and it's fired in by Eric Payton, and it's cleared off the line from Eric Payton in actual fact. Now Malone, stepping inside, Eddie Malone still jinking and diving, and it's fired straight at Joe Malin. Eddie Malone, not scored for Dundee. He's not going to on that occasion either. Eric Payton, his low shot seemed to deceive everyone, deceive myself, almost sneaking in on the line. I thought it was in, but it's cleared off the line. Gilhaney. And McMenamin's found space dropping deep and works it out to Paul McHale. Payton's come in on the overlap, but he's gone up front to Colin McMenamin, but this time McHale and McMenamin not on the right wavelength, and the ball just runs through harmlessly to the byline. Joe Malin sliced this one out, and it's going to go right out of play. And safe hands from Jinky Farringham this time. And McHale fires that one up into the sky, and Watt had to wash that one onto his boot because Courier was looking there. On good goal scoring form, Antoine Courier. 7-7. Guadeloupe could do with that, but he's here playing for Dundee today. And Payton with a crossing, looking for Courier, and it's headed away. Now Paul McHale on the edge of the box. And he's not going to get the chance to have a shot on goal, so he's worked it out to Payton now. Payton running out the defence. Payton still going, cuts it onto his left foot. Nobody's challenged him. It's deflected through, and then McMenamin also almost in the back of it. Boyd clears it away, and McHale with a tame effort. I'm not sure if he was trying to knock it back into Colin McMenamin or if that was a strike on goal from Paul McHale, but in the end, turned out to be neither. And Joe Malin can claim it. Shaked off that early knock, Joe Malin, and he looks confident in the sticks, former Celtic youth player. This time close to the touchline again, the clearance from Joe Malin. Colin Cameron sticks his foot in and is cleared away by Watts, and Gardines won it back for Ross County, but great sliding challenge there from Colin Cameron, gets it back. Now Cameron. And this time Keddy with a sliding challenge. Great tackle from Alex Keddy. And Darren Dahl goes down. Challenge from Paul McHale. And Mike Tumulty, the referee, will halt the play. And he's going to book Paul McHale here. Darren Dahl, the man, he's back up on his feet now. But Darren Dahl had the beating of Paul McHale on that occasion. And Paul McHale just a bit too slow. And Paul McHale just having a word with Darren Dahl as they went past. Lawson chipping it into the ball just a bit too high for Darren Dahl this occasion. It's come back down though. Now Boyd chipping it, looking out wide for Mark McCulloch, and Gilhaney sticks to his task, and it comes through for Gardiner was with a strike, and Douglas, two hands behind it, clears it away. And in fact the offside flag's gone up on the far side again. The man who flagged Stephen Craig offside for the Ross County goal, and it's going to halt the play again, but two-handed great stop from Robert Douglas. Keeps the scoreline goalless. McCulloch with a firm head behind that, and he's found Stephen Craig running forward. Gary McKenzie trying to force him out wide to the corner, and he's done just that. And in the end, it comes off Gary McKenzie, and it's going to be, in fact, a rebounded back off Stephen Craig, and it's going to be a Dundee throw. And Courier appealing for the free kick and gets it off Alice Keddy, just running back at the moment. Payton with a almost miss-hit free kick, but McHale could help it on, and Keddy can stick his boot behind it, but doesn't quite get his hand on it. And now Lawson can stick his boot behind it and find the run of Dowandal in the attacking position. Jim Loughlin, though, comes across the clear, but he can only get as far as McCulloch. Now Gardyne. And now Lawson looking out wide for Martin Corrigan, but has come through instead, while Corrigan's got it back. And a low ball there from Martin Corrigan, and doesn't find anyone. And Martin Corrigan will have to go back to the drawing board on this occasion. Helped on by Colin Cameron in the centre of the park, and McMenamin might run in the back of this, but Corrigan can play it easily back to Joe Malin. Corrigan again, and now Lawson works it out to Britton, and he could find the run of Stephen Craig here, and Stephen Craig has Dowandal in the middle here, and a great sliding challenge from Gary McKenzie. Saved a certain goal there, Gary McKenzie. A pat in the back from Robert Douglas for his trouble. And Dundee are living dangerously. County have had plenty of opportunities in this first 50 minutes. But now Dundee might be able to create one of their own. Cameron tries to slide it through for McMenamin, but Boyd could get his feet behind it and clear it away. Britton now looking for Dahl, but a cushion header from McKenzie, who's always in control there, Gary McKenzie. Easily clears it away. Courier with a flick on, and McMenamin's got there ahead of Watt. Forced down into the corner though here, Colin McMenamin. Watt sticking with him, and it's come off the boots of Watt, and Watt can get it away. Not out of play though. Eric Payton thought it was. And McKenzie almost knocks it into the stand here at Victoria Park. Now Courier getting turned. McHale, Dundee just taking the time on the ball, being very deliberate with the passes. A little fate from Antoine Courier. Doesn't come off though, and a wave of the hand and apology. But Dowandal could be away from Gary McKenzie here. And McKenzie sticks to the task well and gets it away. Now McCulloch. And this comes off the shins of McHale through to Dowandal. And across from Dowandal could find Gardyne. And Gilhaney misses his clearance, and Stephen Craig could almost profit. And it comes through to Martin Corrigan now. Aimed high, looking for Stephen Craig in the box, but Robert Douglas strides out, and Stephen Craig almost got lucky with that sclaffed clearance from Mark Gilhaney. And it could be another missed opportunity for Ross County. Keddy knocks it away, and Colin Cameron can pull it down brilliantly in the centre of the park, but unfortunately his pass wasn't up to the mark, and Ross County can come away with it. Now Gardyne looking for options up front, but there's no one there, and Colin Cameron can step back and clear the ball away. And missed clearance from Stephen Watt. Colin Cameron in the centre, no one around him. Easy for him to pick up possession from the throw-in. Courier now out to Gilhaney. Payton making the overlap run, and Eric Payton now can run into the corner, and the crossing is not the best from Eric Payton. And it's gone over the stand on the far side. Malin launching it down, looking for Dowandale. Laughlin's in behind him though, and just the presence of Jim Laughlin enough to put off Dowandale on this occasion. Now Colligan. It's back with Colligan. Ross County plenty of time just to play the ball around here. Dowandale dropping deep to keep possession for Ross County. Just a flutter of snow now at Victoria Park as Britton chips the ball in, looking for Craig, and Douglas steps out well and claims the ball two-handed. Pushing the back there on Colin McMenamin, doesn't go punished by the referee. Now Gardine looking for options here, and Craig's one of them, running through at Jim Laughlin, but Jim Laughlin can step back, and Eric Payton slips in the sand there, and now McCulloch can come away with it. Dahl now, and Martin Colligan making the overlap run, but I think O'Brien might just get there. Indeed, David O'Brien could shuffle out to that far wing and clear the ball away. Now O'Brien again. Courier screaming for the ball in the centre of the park. Antoine Courier still going forward here, David O'Brien, and in the end O'Brien has committed the foul, and it's going to be a free kick to Ross County. Slice clearance here from Martin Colligan, and Courier could put Watt under a bit of pressure, but nothing came of it. Now Payton, low ball and looking for the feet of Antoine Courier, and it's a shake of the hand in frustration from Eric Payton. And Courier, Cameron Sawyer almost robs Lawson in the centre of the park. Now Keddy stepping forward, Alice Keddy. Paul McHale holds the run though, and now it's Mark McCulloch. Gardine in plenty of space in the centre of the park. Gets it now, Michael Gardine. A wee trick to get past Jim Laughlin, and he's drawn the foul from Jim Laughlin as well. Michael Gardine, just a bit too much trickery there from Jim Laughlin. He was past him before Jim Laughlin got anywhere near him. And Paul Lawson just placing the ball deliberately. Dundee half forming the three-man wall. Gilhaney just stepping away from it now. Just Lawson standing over it though. And it's a chip ball from Lawson, not aimed at any of the dark blue shirts in the centre of the park there. Lawson takes the ball just off the head of Colin Cameron and works it out to Dowandale. Back to Richie Britton now. And Richie Britton, a misplaced pass, and it's a side frustration around Victoria Park. And Malone. And it's gone right off play from the boot of Eddie Malone as he checks his studs, but I think he's going to have a firmer look at himself rather than the studs. Maybe just blaming the Victoria Park pitch, but sliced off the boot of Eddie Malone straight out of play. Now Colligan. And Gardine's got away from Colin Cameron here, and Gardine's running into the corner. Comes off the head of Jim Laughlin, drops to Britton. Gardine's got a back there. He can try again with the cross. Just a bit too high for Stephen Craig, and Douglas again claims the ball both hands. Drops to Keddy. Firm head again from Alex Keddy. Now Craig stepping back and looking to work it out wide to where there's no Ross County players at all. Not sure what Stephen Craig was thinking there. Didn't have his eyes open anyway. Now David O'Brien. And Eddie Malone shrugging the shoulders, looking for options, Eddie Malone, but Colton Cameron gives him a late one. And it's knocked into the shins of Paul Lawson, and Michael Gardine with a poor pass goes out of play. And after a bright start from Ross County, early chances, Dowandale hitting the bar. Stephen Craig caught offside. Just misplacing a few passes from both sides. Colligan heads it back, and Malone now. And Dundee have the throw in on the far side. Courier helps it on and might drop to McMenamin, but Watt can stick his boot through that and he doesn't care where it's going. It's going all the way up the halfway line. Now Courier running with Colgan. Now O'Brien struggling with Lawson all over his back, and David O'Brien now forced into the corner. Cross was deflected, and now Boyd can take his time over the clearance, but he's put himself under pressure. They're taking a touch too much, and O'Brien can get it back in the corner, and he's done enough to win a throw-in, but Scott Boyd putting himself under pressure. They didn't have to take that extra touch, and Dundee have an attacking opportunity. Malone with the throw-in. Eddie Malone with the cross now is coming through to Colin McMenamin, but Kerry with another good header from the Yorkshireman gets it away. Malone now to Camden, and they've played a 1-2 in the centre of the park, and Eddie Malone might just keep this one in, and in fact he's kicked it away, so it's gone out to play on that far side. Eddie Malone not quick enough on this occasion. Now Colin Cameron, the ball's dropped down to him, might fancy a crack here, Colin Cameron, and it's just gone wide of that near post. And Joe Malin, he's not happy with the amount of time Colin Cameron got given there, but Colin Cameron came close to his first goal for Dundee. Not this time though. In fact, Colin Cameron just being asked to leave the park here by referee Mike Tumulty. Just running over, might just be a cut on the knee of Colin Cameron, and the physio will clean that up for him. Stephen Craig keeps that one in play. Gilhaney looks for McMenamin in the centre of the park. Now Dahl keeping the ball in tight, and Darren Dahl does just enough to win the free kick. Guy McKenzie and Paul McHale were around him, and it was a bit too much for the referee, and Darren Dahl does enough for the free kick. Colin Cameron can come back on the pitch. Now Boyd. Paul McHale trying to close him down. Now Dahl dropping deep, and Jim Laughlin goes sliding right through the back of Darren Dahl there. This time no free kick from the referee, and Dundee can take the time and let the players move it up into an attacking position. McHale, the low stinging ball looking for Eddie Malone, and it's a throw up into the arms of frustration there by Antoine Courier. He doesn't get the ball. McKenzie just does enough to get his head up above Stephen Craig that time. Now McMenamin. Chip ball from David O'Brien, and Courier can run down into the corner here up against Scott Boyd, and he does enough to just shuffle the ball past Scott Boyd, Courier, and now Gilhaney's arriving late at the far post, but Alex Keddy running in there, and Alex Keddy's been very solid at the back in the first 27 minutes here at Victoria Park, and this time saving a goal. Mark Gilhaney had the goal at his mercy there, but Keddy stuck his head in the way. Payton and McKenzie arriving late, and it's going to come all the way through, and it's headed away by Scott Boyd. And this time the cross from Eddie Malone goes out for the corner kick, and Mark Gilhaney can try again from the other side. Cameron giving Gilhaney the short option. Gilhaney can work it in now, and is sliced off the boot of Martin Corrigan, but no Dundee players around to take advantage, and Ross County get it away. McHale fires it back in, but this time it goes all the way through to Joe Malin, and Eric Payton wasn't quick enough to get in the end of that one. Now McCulloch sticks his boot through that, and it could find Stephen Craig in behind Guy McKenzie, but Stephen Craig just a bit eager this time, Stephen Craig, and draws the foul, Guy McKenzie. Courier flicks it on to Colin McMenamin. Courier wants it back, gets it back from McMenamin, and now out to the near side. Mark Gilhaney stepping inside Mark McCulloch, and he's got the ball in, but a bit overhead this time from Mark Gilhaney. Now Britton. Chip ball, and Stephen Craig might be running into the corner here, but Loughlin, solid enough at the back, Jim Loughlin, and tidies up. Recovered from that gash in his head last weekend, Jim Loughlin, but he's looked very solid at the back so far today. Courier just took a knock in the back there from Watt, but Gardine comes away with it now. Britton outside him. Here is Richie Britton now. Nobody closing him down. Paul McHale steps out now, and Britton gets the ball in, and Eric Payton plenty of time just to stick his boot through that one and get it away. Courier. Now Mark Gilhaney can run away. And Stephen Watts will just watch that one go out of play. Now Lawson. Courier chests that one down for Cameron. Brave header from Jim Loughlin, sticking his head where the boot of Michael Godine once gets a slap in the hand for his troubled good sportsmanship between the two players. And McHale. Cameron with a low ball and almost coming through for Antoine Courier's great sliding interception though from Stephen Ward. Courier was through there and he likes running one-on-one with the keeper. 7-7 for Michael Courier. Boyd lost that one in there, but it's picked up by Lawson. And McCulloch. And Eric Payton can step forward. Stephen Craig though wasn't giving him time, and now Mark Gilhaney can step inside Mark McCulloch. A hand in the shoulder from Mark McCulloch, but the referee plays advantage. Now Malone looking for options in the box, but he's going to take it on a bit further, Eddie Malone. Now O'Brien back in the starting lineup today. And that low ball from Eddie Malone. He was expecting something different there, Eddie Malone, but Dundee players not working on the communication. Stephen Craig can come deep and just little cushion header out to Mark McCulloch. Great header from Stephen Craig. Mark Gilhaney running with Mark McCulloch, trying to cut him down, and Mark Gilhaney gets the boot in, but McCulloch sticks to his task and McCulloch wins the throw-in. Now Keddy, he's looking for options here. Darren Dow running across to giving one now, but Keddy doesn't fancy it. Into the box it goes, Gardine. Gardine's got a back from Keddy, and Gardine just couldn't find a trick in his back pocket this time, and Payton can clear it away. And Stephen Craig might just get in the end of this one, but Eddie Malone goes to ground and does enough to clear the ball away from the feet of Stephen Craig at the expense of a throw-in though. Stephen Craig has looked dangerous so far in the first half. A goal offsides and a header over the bar. And he'll love to get one against his former employers, Dundee, here. Now Gardine gets the ball caught under his feet a bit, but he's managed to work it back over and it's fired into the back there of Eddie Malone. And Richie Britton doesn't quite get his angles right this time, and it's going to be a... Douglas and headed away. Colgan looking for Lawson in the centre. Has worked out, but comes off the back of McMenamin. Now Cameron turning away, and Colin Cameron's looking for options here. Cuts inside. Colin Cameron might just do enough to keep the ball, and he does just that. Thought he let it run a bit ahead of him, but he gets away with it. Malone with a chip ball in, and this time runs all the way through. Malin Gets it away, and Dahl tussling, and Dahl might just work it through here to Stephen Craig, and Douglas can let that one drop quite comfortably into his arms, but Stephen Craig will put that down as a chance. Man with SPL experience, and Stephen Craig jogs back. Courier just doesn't have to hold off Keddy. Now Gilhaney. And McHale finds Malone in space on the far side, and Malone can take time to size up his options. Now O'Brien. Back in the lineup today with Ephraim away with the Cyprus national team. And Courier's got Watt all over his back, but I think it was a bit of a tussling from both players there, and the referee just lets that one go. Mackenzie sticking his head in well there against Stephen Craig, and Mackenzie took a sore one from Stephen Craig, and the referee, let's have a wee word with Stephen Craig telling him to calm down. But no yellow card this occasion, just the one yellow card so far. Paul McHale with that challenge on Darren Dahl. Eric Payton with a short free kick into chest of Cameron. McCulloch can get that one away. Cameron can help it back on in. Now O'Brien, and Watt with his head right through the back of David O'Brien gets the ball away. Ross County out of danger this time. Now Dahl. And Martin Corrigan. And he didn't fancy taking that one on himself. And Britton can look long for Stephen Craig. Stephen Craig has to come back, and Dundee the defence gives him time to turn, and Jim Laughlin can just pick the ball off him as a little stumble from Craig gives him the time. Cameron just turn away and gives himself the space, but run of Colin McMenamin doesn't come through to anything. And Boyd's knocking that one right up in there, and Courier can get under this one and take it away from Martin Corrigan. Martin Corrigan recovers well, though, went to ground and took the ball away from the feet of Antoine Courier, and the Guadeloupe International couldn't get away. Keddy gets his boot through that one, but doesn't find anyone up front, and now Eddie Malone can step forward, takes the ball past Richard Bretton, and Eddie Malone will fancy going for a run here. Now a low ball into the feet of David O'Brien, got Lawson behind him though, and David O'Brien will have to look for options, gets the ball in though, and Watt clears it away. Now Cameron on the volley, fired into Michael Gordine, and Dundee putting the Ross County defence on the pressure. They've not done that so much in the opening first half here at Victoria Park, but 10 minutes to go until half time. They'll be looking to get the first goal on this encounter. And Eric Payton not getting options from the throw, and now Gilhaney goes to ground, and Ross County can clear it away through Michael Gordine. And Darren Dahl full of running up front, and he's showing the Dundee fans exactly what they benefited from when Darren Dahl was playing for him, and Keddy was all over the back of Colin McMenamin. Just a bit of backing in, I think, there from Colin McMenamin, I think the referee thinks. And Watt will be looking to launch this one up forward. And Stephen Watts finds Darren Dahl, who has time just to cushion the ball out to Martin Corrigan. Now Richie Britton. And Gordine forced backwards towards his own goal, and Dundee can take the ball off him quite easily. And Paul McHale might just find Antoine Courier in here behind Watt, but Watt sticks to the ball and doesn't let the ball in behind him. And Courier this time, he knew he was offside, wasn't going to go run for that one, Antoine Courier. And the man who's scored in all 3 previous games against Ross County this season, Antoine Courier, wants to make it a 4-bagger today. And he's turned his back on his country to do just that, and as Malin's fired it right at Antoine Courier, and Kerry just has to clear away, improvising at the back, and Mark McCulloch can keep the ball in play. Now Lawson, McHale trying to put him under pressure, and David O'Brien, Dundee pushing right up against this Ross County defence, trying to take advantage of that error from Malin, but Malin this time puts his boot through it and clears the ball away, and Ross County can keep the clean sheet. And Corrigan's won it for Ross County in the first side. Britain back to Corrigan, and the Ross County attack stalls with a missed pass there from Martin Corrigan, and Colin Cameron can instead look to pick a pass forward for Dundee. Now Payton, and low ball into the corner here from Eric Payton finds Stephen Watts, and he can put the ball out into touch, and Mark Gilhaney has to settle for a throw in that Eric Payton's going to step up and take it himself. Gilhaney just running back to give him an option here, and left-footed might find Antoine Courier at the far post, but comes off the head of Scott Boyd, does just enough to get the corner, and the Ross County players surround referee Mike Subtlety. They thought it was a goal kick. I think it did come off the head of Scott Boyd, but I think it also came off the head of Antoine Courier after it hit Scott Boyd. Referee missed it though, and it's going to be a corner kick to Dundee, and with just 5 minutes to go until half-time here at Victoria Park, Dundee will be looking to take advantage of this gift of a chance. Gary McKenzie and Jim Laughlin, Eddie Malone all up from the back. Eric Payton scored on the opening day. The ball doesn't get past the first man, and it's going to be another corner kick to Dundee. And Dundee will have to make one of these corner kicks pay. Gilhaney again, and it's exactly the same from Mark Gilhaney. It doesn't get past the first man, and Corrigan can get away, and Stephen Craig completes the clearance. McHale can nod it out to Colin Cameron. Chip forward, and Colin McMenamin running in here with Joe Malin, and Colin McMenamin claims the ball, and Colin McMenamin thought that the ball was outside of the area, but the referee waves the play on. Not going to be stopping for that. Mark Gilhaney, and a great sliding challenge there from Scott Boyd, and Mark Gilhaney has stayed down there from the challenge by Scott Boyd. It was a good challenge by the defender, but Mark Gilhaney is still down on the centre circle, and Ross County play on. Paul Lawson now trying to pick a pass. Gardine, and County continuing to play Jockey Scott wants the Dundee players to pressure them and get the ball out themselves. Now Lawson, and he might fancy on the left foot here, Paul Lawson, but Rob Douglas claims it, and it's another missed chance from Stephen Craig. It is Stephen Craig right in front of the Dundee fans, and it's a hat-trick of misses from Stephen Craig in this first half, although one of them was offside. But Ross County should have at least a goal in this first half at Victoria Park. It's not come though. Good strike though by Paul Lawson just in the lead up to it, and Robert Douglas got down well and got 2 hands behind it. But it was a follow-up that fell to the feet of Stephen Craig, and the former Dundee man, 7 goals in his time for Dundee, couldn't get one against them today. Boyd clears it away, and it might just fall here to Darren Dahl, but Eddie Malone goes through the back and gets the ball off of him well. Douglas sticks his boot through, and it might come through here to Colin McMenamin. And Colin McMenamin tried to nod it down for Michael Antoine Courier, but it just didn't quite come off. He's got it back now, McMenamin. Low ball in, and Watt can clear it away, but now Ross County can get away. McCulloch tries a wee fancy trick to get past Gilhaney. He doesn't have to win the throw-in off Mark Gilhaney there, Mark McCulloch. Alex Keddy looking for options from this zone, but I don't think any are forthcoming. And Craig tries to turn away from Gary McKenzie, but McKenzie will just let the ball go out of play. And Stephen Craig concedes a throw in. Thrown forward, and Keddy can put his head behind it and clear it away. Now Courier, he's got Watt all over his back, but doesn't have to hold him off. Payton, low ball in, and it's easily cleared away by Paul Lawson, and now Richie Britton can counter-attack away for Ross County. And Dundee get numbers back and stall the attack up at the halfway line. Now Corrigan chip ball forward, and Stephen Craig, he was onside Stephen Craig, but didn't fancy running for it, and the ball can just run through for a goal kick. 3 chances though for Stephen Craig, 2 really gilt-edged chances. Spill from Robert Douglas, and that header that crashed back off the bar from Darren Dahl. Rebound though from Stephen Craig over, and he knows he should have county 2-0 up, and the offside goal as well. Debatable call. Now Lawson chip forward, and he could find Stephen Craig, and will he take advantage this time, Stephen Craig? But Robert Douglas steps out, and he's not going to let the ball pass him this time. Robert Douglas has clearance just a bit more up in the air than out, and Paul Lawson can get nodded back, but Courier almost takes advantage. The clearance from Boyd finds McHale. Now Gilhaney running at Alex Keddy, and has a right-footed cross from Gilhaney, but his head was down in frustration before the ball even got to his target. He knew it was a bad cross. And Joe Malin can clear the ball away and try and set up another attack for Ross County. And Eddie Malone has to shield his eyes from the sun there, and then Darren Dahl went crashing into him, and maybe just didn't see him because of the sun. But Darren Dahl, he's not the smallest of guys. You would have thought that Eddie Malone could see him coming. Or maybe the Highland sun is a bit bright for him. And Courier didn't fancy jumping for that one. He had Corrigan behind him, and Boyd might just let this one go out of play, and this time the referee gets the call right. It's going to be a goal kick to Ross County. Joe Malin gets play on the way again. Darren Dahl stepping back to the halfway line, then he's nodded the ball on to Stephen Craig. Now Britton almost finding it through to Mark Goodine, but Goodine gets it this time. Now looking for Mark McCulloch on the near side, nods it down, and Dahl running in, but Mackenzie read the nod down and gets it away, and Darren Dahl couldn't add to his tally for Ross County this season, 6 goals. Looking for 7 there. That wasn't coming though. Now Lawson out to Keddy. Chip forward looking for Darren Dahl. Mackenzie can get it away. McHale helps it on. And Keddy just has to be aware that Gilhaney's running in, and Gilhaney does just enough to put Keddy under pressure and wins the throw in on this near side. Eric Payton can step forward and try and cut through this Ross County defence. McHale giving him the option now, but Payton doesn't use him. And Watt sticks his boot through that, and Mackenzie can step forward, but he only can step forward and knock the ball out of play on this near side, and Ross County can try and launch another attack from this throw in. Keddy, and Payton can keep that one in play, drags it down, but he only drags it down for Darren Dahl, who profits off the little missed pass. Now Craig goes to ground, and Gary McKenzie went right through on Stephen Craig there, and Stephen Craig, who's been in the thick of action with missed chances in this first half, in the thick of action again, and Gary McKenzie went in late there on Stephen Craig, and is still just flaring up a bit, and Darren Dahl getting involved with Gary McKenzie. But Stephen Craig was down, and Gary McKenzie stuck his boots into him, and it'll be interesting just if the referee opts for a red card here or a yellow. And the referee just calling over Stephen Craig as well. He wants words with them all. Just asking everyone else to leave. And Jockey Scott and Derek Adams as well making their way down the touchline. And they're both just being led away now. And Mike Summertay, the referee today, has some sorting out to do here, because they all piled in after Guy McKenzie put the boots into Stephen Craig. It's a yellow card for Guy McKenzie. Probably can count himself a bit lucky, Guy McKenzie. Different referees on different days may well have pulled out a red there for Guy McKenzie, but Stephen Craig as well, he gets a yellow card too for his part in it, and the referee a yellow card apiece, and it's play on. And Derek Adams, he's not happy about it, having a word here. Jockey Scott as well having a word with the linesman, but it's a yellow card apiece, and referee say that's the end of that, and we can play on. Paul Lawson standing over the free kick, and Derek Adams as well having a word with the Linesman just being led to his back, but the free kick now is launched in, and Robert Douglas gets a push in the back there from Scott Boyd, and Robert Douglas can win the free kick. And a bit of words between the managers there just as the half-time whistle blows, but a controversial end to the first half here. Gary McKenzie, he may well have had a red card for putting the boot into Stephen Craig. It didn't happen though. Stephen Craig, he's been in the thick of it. An offside goal, 2 missed chances, and it's a fiery end to the first half at Victoria Park. And the second half underway at Victoria Park. Everyone's had time to take a deep breath, and we're back underway after that fiery end to the first half. O'Brien just works it out to Eddie Malone now. Now McHale, and after County had a good start to that opening period, good first 20 minutes by them, but then the game just became very scrappy, and County will be looking to start the second half the way they started the first. Stephen Craig having the ball in the back of the net. Keddy stepping forward now, Dahl. And now County with men in the box here, and the ball ricochets off for Eric Payton, and Eddie Malone does just enough to keep the ball in, and this is going to be a throw in to Ross County. Fans in that terracing behind the goal wanting the corner kick. Now Gardine being forced back towards the touchline, but a little turn, and he's got his facing the right way again, and Douglas will have step forward, but Lachlan takes the ball away from the gloves of Robert Douglas. A little bit of miscommunication there in the back line for Dundee. A wave of the hand and apology from Jim Lachlan, but Ross County have the first corner kick of the second half. Richie Britton will go across to take it. Placing the ball there deliberately. Scott Boyd and Stephen Watt up from the back. Alex Keddy as well. He's shown so far he's got a great head in him, Alex Keddy. And it's up in the air from David O'Brien. Watt will try and keep it in, and it's come off Mark Gilhaney. In fact, it doesn't come off Mark Gilhaney. The ball was already out when Mark Gilhaney kept the ball back in play. It's going to be a goal kick to Dundee. Robert Douglas has the ball in his hands. And I'd be hoping it stays there. Gilhaney twisting and turning, he's got away and launched the ball forward, looking for Colin McMenamin, and Stephen Watt covering at the back. This harmlessly taps the ball out, and it's thrown to Dundee, and Dundee can push forward up the park. And the spectators on that far side shielding their eyes from the winter sun. The snow has ceased for the moment. We had a brief flurry in that first half. I think it was the rain overnight that done damage to the Victoria Park pitch. Courier dropping deep, and now Payton can take his time, size up the ball, and he's gone down in the corner looking for Paul McHale, but Ross County clearing up well at the back, and Gary McKenzie fires that ball into Stephen Craig, and after the incident at the end of the first half, it's a little word from Stephen Craig as he goes past Gary McKenzie, but nothing quite as severe as the end of the first half. Drew them a yellow card each. Keddy with the ball forward, and it goes over the head of Gary McKenzie. Gary McKenzie will have to run back to try and clear up at the back. But the ball runs out of play, and Dundee have the throw, and no, doesn't come off the head of Gary McKenzie. I thought it may have just skidded off the back of his head. McHale helps it on, and Keddy can fire the ball back in towards the box, but the ball drops now to Paul Lawson. The ball just gets held up in that centre patch of the pitch that's got a lot of sand in it. And Britain can fire the ball all the way over to the far post. Guy McKenzie gets a good head on it, and Mark McCulloch will try and keep the ball in on the far post, and in fact he won't. He'll let the ball run all the way out, and Ross County can restart the play with a throw in. Alex Keddy making a late run up, and he's got the ball here. Alex Keddy twisting and turning away, gets the ball in on goal, and Robert Douglas dives on the ball and takes it. And he'll be watching the Scotland-Holland game with mixed feelings, I'm sure, Robert Douglas tonight. Playing, of course, in the 6-0 defeat the last time Scotland were over in Amsterdam. He won't want to repeat that. Former Dundee player as well, Lee Wilkie, also played in that game. Now Gardine, and comes off the shins of McHale and goes all the way back to Robert Douglas. But yes, Robert Douglas played in that 6-0 defeat to Holland last time they were over in Amsterdam, and he'll be hoping that the men in dark blue do a bit better this time. Now Martin Corrigan, chip ball forward, and Dowandall's run in behind the Dundee defence here, but he's offside, Dowandall, and the ball is flagged by the assistant on this near side. Dowandall, the man who Dundee wanted to keep, but in the end went away to America, Dowandall, and he's come back and played for St Johnstone and now Ross County since leaving Dundee. And the Dutchman, he'll also be watching the match later on tonight with a bit more of a different perspective. He'll be wanting a repeat of that 6-0 win, helped on by Colin McMenamin, and it might come through here to David O'Brien. Keddy, though, forces the ball away from David O'Brien, and Alex Keddy, great defending again by the Yorkshireman, and Dell has helped that one on to Michael Gardine. Now Richie Britton striding forward, and he's gone back to Michael Gardine, and the attack just stalls for a bit as Gardine gets the ball caught under his feet, and now Dowandall slips on the Victoria Park surface, and Dundee can get the ball away. David O'Brien gets the ball caught under his feet, but he's away now, and comes off the boots of Paul Lawson, and David O'Brien is dispossessed, and he'll be wanting to impress Jockey Scott with his performance today, out of the side since January thanks to the arrival of Jojo Ephraim. And he'll be wanting to put in the performance today while Jojo Ephraim is away on international duty. He'll still be away for the game on Tuesday night as well against Dunfermline. And David O'Brien will be hoping he can do enough in these two games to tell Jockey Scott he's got a future at Dundee. And we're trying to win his place back in the starting lineup as well. Keddy helps it back forward, and it drops here to Michael Gardine, and he's worked it all the way out to Mark McCulloch, but Eric Payton can step forward and clear it away. And Alex Keddy ends up in the stand on that far side with the Ross County fans. Dahl just gives Eric Payton a push there from the throw in, and thought he was away there, Dowandall. But the referee called back the play, and he won't get away with a push in the back on Eric Payton. Keddy gets his boot through it, and Stephen Craig has to drop deep and win the ball. Now Dowandall, plenty of space. He's got Richie Britton outside him, and here is Richie Britton. Martin Corrigan going on the overlap, but he's gone all the way over to the far side with McCulloch. And now Ross County go all the way back to the halfway line. A poor pass from Alex Keddy finds Colin Cameron, and Cameron can try and put David O'Brien through. Now Gardine trying to get away from Colin McMenamin, and in fact the referee's going to halt the play and call Colin McMenamin over here. The referee will just have a word with the Dundee striker. It's going to be another yellow card. The third for a Dundee player today. Paul McHale and Gary McKenzie already in the book. Stephen Craig as well in the book for Ross County. And Ross County have pushed the big men forward. Scott Boyd and Stephen Watts forward for the free kick. Alex Keddy in there as well. And it's swung in just a bit too long, and Robert Douglas can claim the balls. Scott Boyd was in there giving him problems, but Robert Douglas claims it well and tries to launch the ball downfield. Scott Boyd and Stephen Watt still making their way back, but Dundee can't take advantage of the lack of numbers at the back this time from Ross County. and Colin Cameron. And Paul McHale chips the ball forward for Colin McMenamin, who's helped it on to Antoine Courier. A fancy back heel from Antoine Courier. Just a bit too fancy for the Dundee attack, and Antoine Courier loses possession for Dundee. And you think that sometimes Antoine Courier should have done the simple thing there, but tried the fancy. Didn't quite come off. Martin Corrigan with the ball down into the corner. Stephen Craig's away. And it's a low ball in, and Guy McKenzie can easily wash that one onto his boot and place the ball out of play for a throw in on this near side. Martin Corrigan will step forward to take the throw in. Now Britton chests the ball down, and Martin Corrigan can help it into the box. Robert Douglas thought he was maybe caught under the ball there, thought it was just maybe going to be out of his reach. But Darren Dahl was looking at the far post, but Robert Douglas, 2 hands on the ball and claimed it well. And his second stint at Dens, Robert Douglas. Payton throws it forward, and Courier gets caught with Alice Keddy, and it's going to be a free kick to Ross County. Antoine Courier shakes the hand of Alice Keddy as he walks away, just letting them know it's a fair tussle. This time Courier penalised. And Keddy fires the ball long, looking into the corner for Stephen Craig. Eric Payton pulls the ball down. Now Britton twisting and turning away, but I think he just stood in the ball and beat himself there, Richie Britton, and he's got away. And Courier puts Joe Malin under pressure, and Malin wasn't going to buckle under the pressure. Gordine just makes his way back. He knew he was offside and wasn't going to run after that one. Payton knocks the ball into the shins of Darren Dahl. Good running by Darren Dahl. Chased Eric Payton all the way back there into the corner. Made Eric Payton play the ball. And Ross County can push up the pitch. And the referee's just going to halt the play. In fact, he's not going to halt the play. I thought for a second he was signalling for some treatment, but playing on. Eric Payton. And Colin McMenamin's clutching his head there after that challenge. Maybe just got a boot in the back of the head from Alice Keddy, but nothing too serious. Shrugs it off and playing on. Fired long, and Eric Payton missed the header. In fact, he was fouled as he went to miss the header there. Eric Payton scored last time Dundee were up in this neck of the woods in August. And it came so close in the first half as well. The ball cleared off the line as he fired the ball low. And so, words of encouragement from Jock Scott. He's trying to get the Dundee team sorted. Second half hasn't quite ignited yet the way the first half did. Certainly the end of it. And also Stephen Craig missing a hat full of chances. Colin Cameron as well, flashing the ball wide. And now Gilhaney can try and put a stop to that now. Works it out wide to David O'Brien, and David O'Brien striding into the box, and David O'Brien up against Joe Malin. But walks the ball low, cleared away off the line, and Colin Cameron jumping in, cleared away by Stephen Watt. And the ball just deflects wide over the post. Antoine Courier can take advantage of it. A great sliding challenge though from Stephen Watt. Saves the goal for Ross County, and it still remains goalless at Victoria Park. But Dundee, they've created the first chance of the second half, and maybe now they can push on and try and get more. Dundee's first corner of the second half. Gary McKenzie and Jim Laughlin up from the back. Mark Gilhaney with a better pass, and Gary McKenzie goes down. He thought it was a foul. Jockey Scott is appealing on the far side. The Dundee fans are appealing on the far side. Not so much of an appeal from the players there, and they're playing on at Ross County. And Michael Godine almost feeds through Stephen Craig on the counter-attack, but this time it doesn't quite come off, and Dundee can settle themselves in the back. But Colin Cameron, he's given away to Stephen Craig. Stephen Craig with a strike, and a great fingertip touch from Robert Douglas. He deflects the ball wide of the near post, and Stephen Craig, it's another great chance for Stephen Craig, but Robert Douglas, an equally good save. And it goes from one end to the other at Victoria Park, and it's still goalless. Stephen Craig, another missed chance for the former Dundee man, and he'll be wanting more than ever to score. Paul Lawson with the ball in, cleared away, and the ball deflects wide of the near post. This time I think it was Scott Boyd going in with a challenge, but it goes wide. In fact, it came off Guy McKenzie on his way through. It's going to be another corner kick to Ross County. And now the second half really has ignited. There's a buzz of excitement before the corner kick. Paul Lawson with the corner kick, and Guy McKenzie gets his head behind it and clears away, but it comes back to Paul Lawson. And in fact, the referee is going to halt the play. There's a head knock in the area, and when there's a head knock, got to halt the play. And I'm not sure who it is that's gone down at the moment. But the physio running on to issue a bit of treatment. In fact, I think it's Paul McHale down with the head knock. And there'll be a pause in the play. A great fingertip stop from Robert Douglas. Got down low well, got down quickly as well. Fingertip top around the post. Some of the fans thought it was in the back of the net, but Robert Douglas just enough of a fingernail on it. Tips it wide, and at the other end, great sliding challenge from Stephen Watt, saving the certain goal for Ross County. Chances at both ends. Still goalless. Now they're just trying to work out how they're going to work out how to take this bounce ball, and Eddie Maloney's going to boot it back to Stephen Watt at the back. And Ross County, they're on the attack there, Ross County, and it's a bit harsh how the play goes all the way back to Joe Malin at the back, but when there's a head knock, the play has to be stopped in case it's a serious one. David O'Brien running with Michael Gardine, and they're both tugging the shirts of each player, and is booted out of play for a throw-in in the end. Eddie Malone looking for options. David O'Brien running into space. Booted away by Martin Corrigan, though. Drops down, and Stephen Craig just watches the ball go out. Long throw from Eddie Malone. Colin McMenamin tries to flick it on, but it doesn't quite get the angles right, and it's gone right out of play for a throw in. Martin Corrigan will just take his time. Long forward, David O'Brien can just hold off Richie Britton there to take the throw in. A poor pass though from David O'Brien this time, and it's cleared away. And a great fingertip stop from Ray Farringham. Gets the play back into Dundee quickly. Courier helps it on, and now Colin McMenamin running through with Scott Boyd at the back, and Scott Boyd has to react well and clear the ball out. And this time a great header from one of the Dundee fans right to Jim Laughlin. And some of the spectators here today trying to showcase their own skills. Ray Farringham could be in goals with that diving stop. And Jim Laughlin's got it in the back, looking for Courier at the back post. It might come through to Gilhaney, but instead it's cleared away by Alex Keddy, and it's gone all the way up the halfway line. But Darren Dahl and Michael Gardine not quite on the right wavelength, and it's easily cleared away. And Ross County get us back on the way. It's cleared away, but half an hour to play here at Victoria Park. Yeah, the man happier so far might be Derek McInnes. Well, I'll just wait to Stephen Craig running up with Guy McKenzie, and it comes off Guy McKenzie. It's going to be a corner kick to Ross County, but Derek McInnes will be happy. Ross County taking points off Dundee today. This is Dundee's match in hand on St Johnstone. They'll be on the same amount of games played after today. 9 points behind at the moment. Dundee will be looking to cut that down, taking advantage of the match in hand. They have to score first. Britton with the corner kick in. Scott Boyd just flashes above his head, and Courier can complete the clearance at the far post. And Dahl and Paul Lawson leave it to each other, and Courier can continue his run forward. Now Colin Cameron almost getting through to Mark Gilhaney, and Scott Boyd goes sliding in there to take the ball off him. Now comes through to Mark Gilhaney, and the Ross County defenders running back, and Gilhaney still going forward up against Martin Corrigan. Gets the ball across. Paul Lawson though gets the header away, and Eric Payton sticks his head in there on the boots of Michael Gardine. Brave play from Eric Payton, and Dundee, after working the ball all the way up the Ross County end of the pitch, only gets a throw in for their efforts. And Eric Payton going over to take it. Colin Cameron in plenty of space. Now Payton up against Mark McCulloch. Eric Payton is getting forced out wide by McCulloch, but Payton gets the cross in the end. Might come through to Colin McMenamin. Cleared away though by County again. Now Paul McHale helps it back into the box. Curry is offside, and he knew he was offside. And O'Brien wins the ball off Corrigan. Now Paul McHale. McHale might fancy the cracky goal here, but it's a tame shot by Paul McHale. Deflects wide. Only the one goal for Paul McHale this season. He wasn't going to be adding to that tally on this occasion. In fact, no goals even in the league for Paul McHale this season. And Ross County will be making the change. It's going to be Sean Higgins coming off the bench for Ross County, and Michael Gardine, I think, is going to be the man coming off. Stephen Craig also making his way over to the bench. In fact, it is going to be Stephen Craig. In fact, there's a bit of confusion at the bench over to who's coming off. It's Michael Gardine, the man who's coming off. Stephen Craig thought he was going to be coming off and was all set to come off, but Stephen Craig retains his place. Looked dangerous so far, Stephen Craig in for Craig Brewster today, but has yet to score. He's had plenty of chances though, Stephen Craig. And the ball comes through to Mark Gilhaney. Keddy thought he lost it. And now it's helped all the way over to the back post from Michael Antoine Courier with a little touch, and he's fired it past Joe Malin. Antoine Courier, he's turned his back on his country, but he's got a goal for Dundee today. He's made it 8-8 for the Dundee striker, and that's his 14th of the season. And Dundee are going to pile the pressure on St Johnstone if they keep on for the 3 points today. It's probably come against the run of play for Dundee, and County can feel a bit hard done by, but Dundee have that goal. And now they're going to have to try and keep the advantage. Michael Antoine Courier, he knows the way to go, and now he's made it 4-4 against Ross County this season as well. In fact, 5-4. He scored in all 4 games against Ross County. No, it's 2-1. Now Craig dropping deep. No, I'm sure Courier's... Well, I've said it now, haven't I? McCulloch helps it on all the way over, and it's going to run all the way through, and Robert Douglas is in trouble by that one. And it's Paul Lawson goes right over the back of Colin Cameron there. And there's going to be a free kick to Dundee. Jim Loughlin to take the free kick. Chip forward looking from Antoine Courier, but it's cleared away. And now Higgins can complete the clearance looking for Darren Dahl up front. And Eric Payton gets the ball away, but it's only going to find Mark McCulloch on the far side. And Stephen Craig might just keep that one. In fact, it's gone out of play there on the far side. Not quite doing the running. Came off the bench. Yeah. He scored like 2 weeks ago. He scored the first AI, yeah. Courier nods it down, and it's going to be Alex Keddy trying to pick up the play. And Courier just couldn't quite take advantage that time. And Ross County warming up another sub. It's going to be former Inverness man Richie Hart coming off the bench. Former manager Craig Brewster just having a word with Derek Adams, but the ball might come through to Antoine Courier again. This time Scott Boyd though clears the ball away, but it's going to be given back to Dundee through David O'Brien, who might fancy a cracky goal here. David O'Brien fires straight at Joe Malin though, who could dive on the ball and keep the scoreline down to just 1-0. And Gary McKenzie left that one, and Robert Douglas may be put under a bit of pressure here, but Robert Douglas dives on the ball in the end. But Gary McKenzie, Eric Payton and Robert Douglas there, neither of them knew he was going to be going for it. They all left it to each other. And Dundee, a bit fortunate, Diamond Dal was looking there. But Robert Douglas this time just gets to rub of the green. Payton doesn't get his head in it, and Higgins can try and feed it through. Now Corrigan for County. Now Lawson. And Courier dropping deep. Almost gets the ball off the toes of Keddy, and Craig can take advantage. Maybe had John Loughlin pulling out a shirt. But Stephen Craig couldn't take advantage. Still yet to score Stephen Craig today. He's had plenty of chances. And John Stewart also being warmed up as a sub for Ross County. It's going to be a double change for the men from the Highlands. And Stephen Craig, he thought he was coming off before. He may be in the firing line for Derek Adams this time. Just working up some final details, Craig Brewster and Derek Adams, but it's going to be a free kick to Dundee at the moment. Eric Payton and Colin Cameron standing over it. Cameron is going to be chipped into the box. Guy McKenzie's up there and he's not going to get it. Comes down to Colin McMenamin. Fired over the bar though. Colin McMenamin got a goal against County a couple of weeks ago, and a little shrug of the shoulders there. It doesn't quite get it quite right. And now we are going to see the changes from Ross County. Richie Hart and John Stewart, both with SBL experience, and both away to come off the bench now for Ross County. It's going to be Paul Lawson and Darren Dahl to come off. Darren Dahl, the man who scored 5 goals in his short spell for Dundee. And he'll be a bit annoyed that he didn't get one against his former employees today. Showed the fans what they missed. And Paul Lawson as well coming off. Stephen Craig still on the pitch and still looking for that elusive goal. Stephen Craig today, he's on a one-man mission to get that goal at the moment. Courier just loses out in the challenge there. Colin Cameron can come forward. Sean Higgins over there trying to give him some attention. Sean Higgins now challenging with Courier, but Courier is strong enough to just hold off Sean Higgins. Now Payton and Cameron link up. David O'Brien's plenty of space in the middle of the park. Drops the shoulder and runs past Richie Hart. And in fact, he's just pulled down by Richie Hart. It's going to be a free kick to Dundee. Not sure if it's a deliberate drop of the shoulder or not from David O'Brien. He got away from Richie Hart though. And Richie Hart not quite up to game pace yet. And Colin Cameron back in the starting lineup today, standing over the free kick. Paul McHale just to the right of him. And then Paul McHale might fire this one on goal. It fired into the back though of Richie Hart, and the attack comes to nothing. Gary McKenzie making his way back to the defensive duties now. Eric Payton still going forward, and now he's looked into the box, but too long though for Colin McMenamin. Now Corrigan, he's got 2 Dundee players closing him down, and gets the ball away in the end, and Loughlin bundles over Sean Higgins. And Loughlin's not happy with Sean Higgins, thought he went down a bit easily, but it's a free kick to Ross County. And Ray Farringham just issuing a little bit of instructions there to Dundee, telling them exactly how to be holding the line. And Martin Corrigan standing over the free kick, and knocks it long, looking for the back, and it comes off the head of Gary McKenzie. Now Keddy fires it into the box, and Hart now with a header. Comes down to John Stewart, deflected away, and John Stewart can't quite get the Everton on goal. Man with plenty of SPL experience with Aberdeen and Falkirk. Not taking advantage of it this time. It comes all the way through and is fired by Sean Higgins, and Jim Loughlin dived there to block that shot. Brave defending from the former United man. Douglas just claims the Claims the ball after John Stewart closed him down. Helped on by Malone there, the clearance, and it's missed by Richie Britton. Martin Corrigan looking forward. Jim Laughlin's underneath it, and Jim Laughlin will just let it go all the way through to Robert Douglas. Got the shout from the Scotland international keeper. Chafford, Courier loses it in the header to Alex Keddy. Very strong there, Alex Keddy. Courier couldn't take advantage that time. Keddy now got it with his feet and it's cleared away off Colin Cameron. He was wanting the throw in for Dundee ball there, but goes away of Ross County. Thrown forward and Payton can nod it back where it came from. Britton just comes across to Rob Cameron. Now Craig turns away from Gilhaney. Now Craig lines up to Sean Higgins. And Higgins works all the way over to Corrigan. Looking for the far post now. Stephen Craig makes the way into the box. But it's cleared away and Ross County not quite working out that training routine this time. Good sliding challenge there for Alex Kidd from Stephen Watt. It is with that sliding challenge. Comes all the way across to Guy McKenzie. Stoops low to clear that one away. Now it's come through to Richie Britton. I'll dink ball into Sean Higgins, but he's got two Dundee players at his back, and he tries to play in Richie Hart on the near side, but Richie Hart was caught on his heels. He wasn't looking for the ball there. As a poor ball by Sean Higgins, and Ross County give away possession with 50 minutes to go. Ross County need to be finding a way into this game, and you think just with Stephen Craig missing the chances earlier on, getting the goal flagged offside, might not just be County's day. But he's had plenty of chances, Stephen Craig. He can get into the goal-scoring places. He only takes one of them. And Colin McMenamin robs Stephen Watt in the centre of the park. Colin McMenamin running through, and Joe Malin running off his line and gets just a knee on it. Knocks it back off Colin McMenamin. That's going to be a goal kick. Stephen Watt was the man who slipped in the centre of the park, almost gifting Dundee a 2-goal lead, and you think maybe unassailable. Guy McKenzie got the head on that and might just play in Richie Hart on the near side, but County gets away with it. Now McCulloch watching the ball onto his feet and he steps inside Eric Payton. Now Stewart. Eric Payton comes back and almost robs John Stewart. Now McCulloch. Britton gets back to McCulloch and got Corrigan in space on the near side, but they're being forced back the way Ross County all the time by Dundee, stepping forward and is headed back into the box and it almost comes through to Sean Higgins. And now John Stewart thought about going down for the under the challenge. Now Corrigan up the far post, this time cleared away by Guy McKenzie, and Guy McKenzie was fouled by the player. Wasn't fouled, the referee waved it on. Now Hart goes for the long range, and Richie Hart crashes off the bar. And Ross County, they got a late winner against Dunfermline during the week from a long range effort, that time from Craig Brewster. He's on the touchline today, Craig Brewster. Richie Hart almost emulating him. Crashes off the bar the second time the Woodworks come to rescue for Dundee today. Darren Dahl had his header crashing off the bar in the first half. This time Richie Hart clipping the top of it. And Ross County, they're not out of this one yet. Pushing forward, trying to grab the equaliser and push on late. Doing well in the midweek as well with goals against Dunfermline late on, including that last minute winner from Craig Brewster. Great diving header there to clear the ball away from Eddie Malone. Now Payton out to Mark Gilhaney, running at Alex Keddy, and Gilhaney has got the trickery to get past Keddy. Gil still going forward. Gilhaney has to step inside though. He'll be looking for options now, Gilhaney. Now Paul McHale gives him that option and works all the way over to the near side with Eddie Malone, and he goes down on the challenge from Richie Hart, and Richie Hart's already had a word from the referee since coming on as a substitute, and Richie Hart, he's not going to get away from the referee this time. Second time the referee's had to call him over, and he's going to go in the book here, Richie Hart, I think. The referee taking his name and number. I'm a bit reluctant to come over to the referee here, Richie Hart. Not quite getting his message across. And Richie Hart becomes a second Ross County player in the book today. Stephen Craig, the other man. Malone just stalling over the free kick and is aimed long, looking for Guy McKenzie at the far post. Keddy blocks the run of Guy McKenzie. McKenzie couldn't get his head in the ball. Now Cameron. And Cameron feeds it into Gilhaney. Low ball looking for McMenamin. Couldn't find them. And he's gone back to keeper Joe Malin. Put under pressure by Antoine Courier. Britton looking out wide for Mark McCulloch. Blocked though, and McCulloch couldn't get in the end of it. Helped on by McMenamin, but Courier had his pass intercepted there by Stephen Watts. And Corrigan being urged forward by Derek Adams. Almost on the pitch there. Now Hart turns away and it goes back to Corrigan. And that ball by Martin Corrigan sliced away and ends up in the stands on the near side. The Dundee players just shuffle over, looking to get in the end of this, thrown by Eddie Malone, aimed at Courier, and the referee's going to halt the play. A head knock. And referee just wanting the physio to come over, and Courier having a word with Derek Adams, and he walks away. And Courier just goes down to check that the man's okay. Caught with a flailing arm. And Richard Britton's up. And caught with the flailing arm there by Antoine Courier, but the referee wasn't going to stop the play. Didn't think there was too much in it. And we're going to see a contested bounce ball here. And the players are all huddling in around it. And Courier loses out to Corrigan this time. McCulloch now over on the far side with Higgins. In fact, it's Richie Hart in that dazzling sunlight. Dundee sitting deep, and Jockey Scott urging the players to get out. And Richie Britton fires it into Eddie Malone. Jockey Scott was screaming at the Dundee players there. They're all sitting embedded in that penalty area in the final third. And now Ross County have a corner kick opportunity. Britton swings it in and is cleared away at that near post. Couldn't be the first man. Now Britton sells him the dummy, and Britton going in with a shot at goal and is fired right across the goal. Nobody was stooping in at the back post to head it in, and Britton's effort comes to nothing. Douglas clears it away, looking long, and Courier jumping with Stephen Ward, couldn't get away with it, and now Gilhaney's worked in on the far side, running at Alex Keddy. And Gilhaney, he's had the beating of Alex Keddy once already in the second half, twisting and turning, and it comes through to McMenamin, little flick pass, and Courier's in the far post, but he's offside, and the two arms up in the air from Jockey Scott are fired down in frustration afterwards, and that linesman on the far side, 2 goals he's flagged offside, 1 for each side. And Antoine Courier, he thought he'd made it his second goal of the game. Not this time though, and Dundee keep playing on, and Courier almost in behind him, and Colin McMenamin running in there, and Malone just slips as he clears it away. Hart just loses out to Colin Cameron. But Antoine Courier was left with a simple task there at the near post, but it was that little deflected bit from Colin McMenamin at the other post. Just caught Courier offside. Now Britton Stepping inside, O'Brien trying to close down the angle, chested down, and John Stewart might just fancy his chances here. Jim Loughlin going in with the chances, and it's fired over the bar by Sean Higgins in the end. And Ross County spurned yet another opportunity, but Jim Loughlin sticking to John Stewart like glue there, not giving him the chance to work space to fire the shot in on goal. And Rob Douglas keeps his clean sheet. Douglas fired at Colin McMenamin. Watts heads it down, and Gilhaney can pick up the loose ball. Stepping inside now, McHale looks for the run of O'Brien on the near side. Corrigan has to go back and play it. O'Brien closing him down and gets the ball away in the end. Corrigan. Loughlin up to Courier. Doesn't even try and go for the header there. And now County, they've got chances here. Players going forward. Sean Higgins goes down, and Paul McHale, who's already been yellow cards, and Paul McHale could get another yellow card here. And indeed, Paul McHale becomes the second Dundee player to be sent off this season. And he's trooping off, he's not happy. And Jockey Scott says warm up the subs. With Paul McHale, he's joined Darren Young in the red card club for Dundee this season. There's a shake of the head as he goes off. 2 yellow cards, he pulled back Sean Higgins. Letter of the law says it's a yellow card. And Dundee have the last 5 minutes to play with 10 men. Paul McHale, he's off the park. And that ball came off Colin McMenamin, loses the ball in the air, but gets it away now. And Courier steps inside. And now McMenamin looking long for the run of Courier. Britton might come across to cut the ball off, and indeed he does. Keeps possession for Ross County. And with that extra men, County will be looking to work the ball into the spaces and try and make this extra man count in the last 5 minutes. McMenamin jumping in. McMenamin helps it on. He's onside, and Antoine Courier running through, and John Malin could secure the points. Antoine Courier finds a leg of Joe Malin, and McMenamin goes down on the far side. The referee signals it. Alex Keddy, the man going in with him, and Alex Keddy may have injured himself. And the referee, well, Alex Keddy just going back up to his feet now, but just moments ago, Courier could have made secure of the points with the second goal of the game. Joe Malin, though, finds the legs of him and clears the ball away, and Alex Keddy picks up a yellow card indeed for that challenge on the edge of the box. And there's a huddle of players standing over the ball here. Peyton, Cameron and Malone. Gilhaney just stepping away now. And Eric Peyton, he's got a previous with free kicks, scored as well in the last visit to Ross County in August. Looks like it could be Eric Peyton. Could just knock the side here, or could see one from the training ground. The referee's got the wall back far enough. And Eddie Malone, Colin Cameron just walking away now. Eddie Malone or Eric Peyton. It's going to be Peyton. Great save from Joe Malin, keeping Ross County in the game. The ball's not out, and Mark McCullough can complete the clearance now. And Cameron watches the ball down and tries to launch another attack for Dundee. McMenamin looking into the box, but Scott Boyd there clears the ball away, and now Britton can complete the clearance. And Dundee warming up 2 subs as cover, just trying to work out this new formation with Paul McHale sent off, of course. Darren Williams and Chris Poznak both stripped and ready to come on as Gilhaney runs into the box, and Gilhaney goes down on the edge of the box. It's going to be another free kick to Dundee in the edge of the box. And we could see Colin Cameron going back over to take the free kick. Eric Peyton there as well. But we're going to see the substitution first. Darren Williams and Chris Poznak. And it's going to be David O'Brien and Mark Gilhaney, the 2 men in at the starting lineup today. Having missed out since January, they're both sacrificed. Passing the back for David O'Brien as he comes off. Mark Gilhaney as well. He'll get a pat in the back as well from Jockey Scott. Darren Williams and Chris Poznak They're on. And they have the job of keeping Ross County out for the last few minutes. Eddie Malone just going over to join the party. He's giving a left-footed option here, Eddie Malone, and he might fancy a crack at this one. Favours the left-footed angle. And it comes through and Eddie Malone strikes it, and Martin Corrigan was only about 2 yards away, but that's the gamble you take when you take free kicks short like that. Martin Corrigan storming out to the wall, blocking down the shot. Cameron in the corner with McCulloch, and has to concede a goal kick in the end. Malin trying to launch another county attack. Mackenzie gets it away though. And the Ross County fans urging their team forward. Comes through to John Stewart, headed away though by Jim Laughlin. And now it's going to be Boyd. Fires it all the way across the far side, headed into the box, and it might come through now, and it doesn't quite drop down for Stephen Craig, and it's going to be a goal kick to Dundee. And just now, the 90 minutes ticking over. And Rob Douglas taking his time over this goal kick. He knows Dundee have that goal advantage, but Ross County have the man advantage. Darren Williams, his first action of the game is to concede a foul going in on Sean Higgins. And at the moment, it's a case of anywhere but the one penalty area from Dundee. Eric Payton firing that one away. Now Britton stepping inside. McCulloch. And Dundee pushing out, trying to not give all these Ross County players an option. It's helped on by Higgins, cleared away. And the clearance is completed, and Courier went for the man there with Keddy, and Courier still running at him, trying to win the ball. Busy as a beaver. And conceded the free kick, they call McMenamin. And he's running back to carry out his defensive job in the last few minutes. It was late on Tuesday night that Craig Brewster scored the winner. Will it be a late equaliser for County? Against Dundee today, long ball from Cameron might find Antoine Courier in, but Corrigan sticks to the task and plays it back to Joe Malin. Now Laughlin clears it away. McCulloch. Now Britton. And Posnak's not letting him get the ball in. He's got the ball in now though. The ball drops down to Richie Hart. And now it comes to Stephen Watts, and the central defender is probably the last man you want in a striking opportunity in the last minute. And he doesn't take advantage of it that time. And Robert Douglas has the ball in his arms, letting the clock just tick away. Still we play at Victoria Park. Britton helps it on. Higgins as well. And now Stephen Craig's running through. A last dish challenge from Gary McKenzie. And Gary McKenzie has already been booked as well. And it might be a straight red card. He was the last man, and indeed Gary McKenzie was the last man. It's a straight red card for the Dundee defender. He did save a goal though. But now Dundee are down to 9 men in the last minute. And Gary McKenzie will be facing suspension as well. As he troops off, Gary McKenzie, he was already on a yellow card. It was a straight red though from Mike Tumulty. And now, as we still play, the ball's going to be spotted here for Richie Hart. In fact, it's going to be Richard Britton. The last minute strike for County, and the ball is into the back of the net. And Richard Britton has saved a point for Ross County. And Ross County have done it again late on. They did it on Tuesday night against Dunfermline. Craig Brewster scoring a stunning winner. Richard Britton from the set piece this time. And they've maybe rescued a point, and they've maybe dented Dundee's promotion hopes ultimately this time. And that's the last kick of the game. Stephen Craig had a bundle of chances, but it's Sean Higgins, the man who secures the point for Ross County. Antoine Courier strike early on wasn't enough, and Dundee end up with 9 men. And now they're 8 points behind with no games in hand on St Johnstone. And it's a long way back down south for Dundee.